So let's talk a little bit about what SAC is. Many people see a list of features or a architecture diagram that shows SAC as the center of an intelligent enterprise. Rather than show that same SAP slide, I thought it'd be better to kind of highlight what I feel like are some of the important features that SAC has, which other tools in this class might not. I'm going to use this analogy of a Swiss Army knife here on the right, because really SAC is many things. It can be different things to different people. As a child, I had a Swiss Army knife that I carried around with me all the time. And there was probably 2 or 3 things I used all the time, right? Maybe I used the tweezers and the knife or something. But there's other people that might use different tools for different purposes. And really, that's the goal, I would say, of SAC. It's to not be everything to everyone, but to be many things to many people. And some of the highlights of what those things are that I'm going to talk about today are obviously the dashboarding, which is really the core functionality of SAC, the self-service analytics, which, if I go back to my comments about Beck's Analyzer, are really one of the things that, great, a dashboard is cool, I can use it, but the self-service is really what I need in order to see some real value. In conjunction with that, you've got this idea of reporting, right? Despite the fact that many of us would love for the business to be consuming all of their data through dashboards and self-service analytics, there is still a need for printable PDF reports or consumed broadcast reports. And SAC's recent innovations, especially in this area, have really closed that gap with Web Intelligence or Crystal Reports or other products out there. There's a series of other things here: applications, broadcasting, which I just mentioned, predictive analytics, planning, collaboration, mobile, Excel integration, all are important. I'm going to highlight predictive and planning a little bit more, as I said before. And then finally, this data wrangling piece, which, although I'm not going to touch on it, it's an important concept. And as I talk about SAC in the larger SAP ecosystem, I think I'll touch on a few points that'll be relevant and important for a lot of you to know. Okay, so back to our Swiss Army knife. So here's an example dashboard that we at NIMBL here built for the San Francisco 49ers. This is used in what we call their executive huddle, which is a room that allows them to see real-time data from their game day operations. So for me, although the dashboard is the cool and the fun and the thing that often sells analytics to executives and to business people, the tool that it really represents is the bottle opener for me. It's the thing that is very useful when you need it. I want to open a beer and I'm super excited to open it when I can, or I want to open a bottle of wine and I need the corkscrew, right? But it's not necessarily the go-to tool of every user every day, right? Most people would probably use their knife more than they use the can opener and the bottle opener. But the can opener and the bottle opener are the one sometimes that is the one you need at the moment you need it. Again, this is the seed of SAC, and it's really what drove it from its infancy, and it's really the core of what it does from the start. Self-service analytics, I think of like whittling, right? Many people want to do many different things. It's hard to define what people want to do, but they just want to do it for themselves. And giving them a knife, or maybe multiple knives, to do what they need to be able to do themselves without predefining what it's going to look like is important, right? So when you look at SAC's current capabilities, I've got a little animation in here that's really illustrating a tool called Data Analyzer. For those of you that aren't aware, this is very much like a pivot table. It's like a Beck's Analyzer or Analysis for Office experience. You can see here dragging and dropping fields from a list of available dimensions or measures and turning those on and off for the user. Most of our clients, I would say, use Excel for this type of thing today. And SAC a year ago, 2 years ago, was incapable of doing this sort of thing, except in very rare scenarios, for example, with BW data. Today, this data analyzer tool could be used with direct HANA data warehouses, which it sounds like a lot of you are running, and really gives the business the power, not just to see the dashboard and to kind of open their beer or the bottle of their wine, but to whittle away and do what they need to do with the data. What you don't want to do, clearly, is get a requirement for a dashboard. You build it, everyone says, that's great. How do I export all the data from that? Or how do I get 100,000 rows of data in my dashboard because I'm looking for this one piece of information? Data Analyzer and tools like it that are come in the suite with SAC are really the way to give that self-service analytics to people and allow them, with my analogy again, to whittle away at the data. The other piece is Explorer and story building, right? So Explorer was a standalone tool as part of the Business Objects Suite many years ago now, and it was really the beginning of this sort of Google-like experience to data that SAP was touting, that a user doesn't need to necessarily know what they're looking for when they start, but rather they can start with a data set, explore the data, find the interesting insight, and then visualize it. You can see here, starting with the data set, right? Pulling it into Explorer, choosing a couple measures, sales volume and price, choosing a dimension that I want to slice it by, business area, selecting them, changing the chart type to a combination bar line, saying, I like this, I want to start a story, copying it to a story, saying, hey, I want to change the colors a little bit to match my own business color scheme, change some colors. And from this point forward, you could share this dashboard with users that you want, right? So that idea that you're not necessarily giving people a dashboard that's been pre-built, although you could, but rather giving people access to the data and saying, do what you need to do, but do it with a new paradigm of self-service dashboarding and analytics, rather than the paradigm of dump the data, pivot it in Excel, which I'm sure we've all lived and breathed for many years. Okay, the next concept I want to touch on, reporting and Excel integration. So on the left here is an example of a PDF report generated out of SAC. So again, some users may want that, need that. They have a report they have to deliver to a third party or to their management. And with SAP Analytics Cloud connected to the same data set, those users can simply export their report as a PDF. On the right side, you see an Excel-based report. Again, we're not trying to say, nor should anybody be saying, that Excel is a no-no or taboo. Many users need it. It's the way they live and breathe their life. The important thing here is that Excel can connect to the same SAC-based data set. So if it's HANA, if it's BW, if it's S4, if it's any other system that SAC can connect to, your Analysis for Office plugin and Excel functionality can consume that data, and effectively you can build a dynamic dashboard or report in Excel without people going off and building their own what I call fiefdoms of data or silos of data. So again, more about whittling. How can users take the same data and use it all within the ecosystem of SAP Analytics Cloud?